All right, fellas. Back for I know we here a little bit early. We got a game going on right now with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Detroit Lions. I know that's going. I think the score was when I last looked at it, it was 14-10. I want to say it was.
9. I think it's 14-9.
What is it? 14-9?
21-9.
21-9 now. Okay.
They just scored?
I believe so.
Okay. 21-9. Okay. Well, I know Mike Evans just went out with I think, concussion. When I saw that, just like how he was just getting up, I knew it was a concussion. How he hit his head on the ground. So he's back out. And then I know we got another game later on tonight. But I wanted to recap some of the games from over the weekend, man. You know, again, these games, some surprises, some not surprises. But Lee, I wanted to start with y'all, man, since y'all was the early game out there in London, man. 35-7, y'all flex your muscles on the Jaguars.
Yeah, man. We went there. We handled our business. I think the Rams got there the day before the game. Spent only about 24 hours before the game started, just to kind of hang around London, I guess, just to get acclimated, get situated in the hotel rooms and all that stuff. But they did all of their prep because we played Baltimore the week before.
Right.
They stayed in Baltimore. They didn't go back to LA.
That's what it was. Okay.
They stayed in Baltimore, practiced that week, flew the day before the game to London, went there, and I guess the plan worked. Stafford 5 touchdowns, Devontae Adams 3, and then they sprinkled to I think the 2 rookies, Mumfield and Ferguson. So it was good, man. I think that was one of the rare games where, no heart palpitations. No, it was just, I was eating my breakfast, drinking my coffee, and just, it was good. Comfortable.
Yeah.
That was a comfortable win.
Yeah.
That was a comfortable win. So we get a bye coming into this next week, get to reset a little bit, get ready for the second half of the season. But yeah, good definitive win.
Yeah. For me looking at it, and I think we talked about this before, for you guys, you one thing you didn't know. Well, what it told me is that Jacksonville is kind of helter skelter, right? And it just showed me when they go up against a defense like the Rams defense, it wasn't really, much of a it just looked like to me that this was a cakewalk. I mean, that's how it looked to me. It looked like this wasn't really that much of a challenge for the Rams.
It wasn't. And like I said before, like I was watching some of those Jaguar games at the beginning of the season, and I wasn't sold on Trevor Lawrence. Like, Trevor Lawrence has not been consistent this season. Some of the wins that they had were kind of like the fluky wins. He's not playing well. He's just not playing well, especially not on a consistent basis. They finally started, they're trying now to get Travis Hunter involved in the offense. Like, intentionally, he got him a little touchdown at the end of the game. Liam Cohen, he's going to have to do something because that offense is just not efficient. They have they don't have a running game. Again, Trevor, he can't get the ball. He can't distribute it consistently across, and they got weapons.
Right.
So I don't know what the answer is going to be. I don't know how they're going to fix it, but something is definitely broken. And then on the defensive side, they can only hold out for so long. I mean, they didn't hold out at all against us. With the offense being as inept as it is, the season continues to go. They're going to break.
So Lee, I got to give you credit. It looks like Liam Cohen be watching the podcast, because last week you were talking about how they got to get Travis Hunter involved in the offense and force feed him if they got to. And he had 8 catches, I think, for 101 and his first touchdown. So someone paying attention, right? But yeah, Trevor Lawrence barely was 50%, 23 for 48. That's not going to do it. And some teams beat teams they're supposed to beat, but will lose to the big teams, the big boys, right? And so I'm looking at the Rams going in there without Puka Nacua, so they're going to try to get Devontae Adams the ball, and he had 5 catches, but 3 touchdowns. So the guy who was going to make plays feasted on that Jaguars defense.
Right.
And so, traveling all the way to London with the Jaguars, trying to be the London Jaguars, trying to set themselves up for that, but they did not show for that game against the
Right.
Rams. So congrats to your Rams. Nice, easy victory.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and just to wrap this one up, I just think really I mean, when they beat the Kansas City Chiefs, that put everybody on like a little notice, like, Jaguars might be doing something. But then you got to remember now that the Kansas City Chiefs were just getting themselves back together. They just got Rashid Rice back, and so it really for Jacksonville that this dispel them for me. I don't see anything else happening for them the rest of the season. I think they're going to be mediocre. I think they're going to end up 500, under 500 a little bit. I don't think they're going to go too far, because when you go up against a defense like that, you gotta come to play, and they didn't. So that definitely showed me something.
For Kansas City, I think that loss was the wake up call for them. Right, we got to ship every week. But it looks like Jacksonville after that win was like, oh, we reach,
Right.
and didn't realize that you got to do it every single week. Like, you don't get to live just off that victory,
Yeah.
And so when I say I worry about Trevor Lawrence, Liam Cohen ain't got no allegiance to Trevor Lawrence. So if you don't start figuring this thing out soon, he may be looking for another job.
Yeah. So Doc, I was going to wait, but we just gonna rip the Band-Aid off here, man. We just gonna go ahead and take this thing off, because
I don't know what you're talking about.
let's go ahead and take this off, man. My Eagles, your your Vikings. I mean, it was a nail biter of a game, and I expected that. I expected this to be a game where, you going back and forth, and defense, and, really, really, really pushing the boundaries. And, you guys have been doing what a lot of teams, and you did what a lot of teams have done this year, which was take away Saquon Barkley. So, Saquon was pretty much taken away, out of the game. And so that had to, Jalen Hurts had to come alive. He had to step up, and he had to, make something happen, especially coming off the bad game that he had against the Giants, right? That was a piss poor game. And, I'm one of those people who, when you play bad, I don't care if you my team or not, I'm getting on you. There's not no sugarcoating and all this stuff. But, I do respect you guys getting your defense really in place, taking away Saquon, but AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, man, and especially Devontae. I mean, and Isaiah Rodgers, he was with the Eagles last year. I wish we would have kept him. I'm not gonna lie. I know he got beat on a couple plays, and then I also saw something which I want to hear from you about on this. He posted on his Instagram that he's been getting some racist statements and stuff like that from fans, that because of that game. So I want to hear from you on that piece also. But just for this game in general, it definitely was a good game. It could have went either way. I think hats off to Carson Wentz in the second half. Because in the first half, I thought he was an Eagle again, man. I was like, yeah,
So
he's
did
going
he.
to all the Eagles. I was like,
So did he.
like, come on, Carson. I was cheering for Carson. I was like, this is the Carson that I know. This is the Carson that I know.
This is what Lincoln been talking about.
But this is what I was saying. This is what I was saying to you guys with Carson. And this is how he was with the Eagles. And that's why we had to get rid of him, because he was doing this on a consistent basis, and he was not listening to anybody in the Eagles camp. None of the coaches. He would get frazzled, and then he would just throw it somewhere. Just throw it instead of throwing it out of bounds, living for the next play, trying to be a hero. But what I was impressed about with Carson, one thing I was impressed about was in the second half, O'Connell, talked to him and kind of got him back in, something happened there at the half where O'Connell kind of reeled him in and brought him back in. And I think he had a much better second half, and he wasn't doing, being the erratic Carson that that I know. And so that first half looked like the Carson of old. Second half, much better Carson. And I think that was the difference in the game, really. I mean, it was the turnovers that Carson Wentz had in that first half that really kind of got things the way it was. So good game, man. It was a solid game. Had me really scared, really nervous there because I didn't want to go down losing 3 straight. But hats off to you. Hats off to your Vikings.
So let me get the Rodgers thing out the way, because there were certain points in time where I was like, is this dude trying to throw the game for the Eagles? Did he like lose a bet from back in the day, and this is him having to pay everything back? No, man. So like it's a game. I understand it's professionals playing. I understand people got money in the game. You can't be throwing racist comments to people because they had a bad game, right? You was praising him when he had the fumble return and the interception return for a touchdown. So he has a bad game. It's his old teammates who tend to know his tendencies. A couple times where the double move, he was beat on the first move, and then trying to adjust to the first move, the second move, like he was just gone, right? So, there's about a play window with Carson Wentz that, all things being equal, cost us the game. That's a 60-minute game, but guys open in the flat, he don't throw it to him. Then, he throws this interception that was just a really putrid interception. Then comes back, throws another interception deep down the sidelines. And it's like what are you doing? Right? Yes, he did settle down in the second half. There were some throws he made with people coming at him, took the hit, made the completions, but like you just can't have those back-to-back interceptions against a really good team like the Eagles. Now, as for your offense, I think we executed what we wanted to execute, which was like, hey, keep Saquon out of it, try to make them one-dimensional, make them have to beat us deep down the sideline. But that's what Jalen Hurts does well. Like, he throws seam routes, he throws posts, and he throws fly pattern routes amazingly well. He's not going to be dinking and dunking. He's not the crossing routes across the field well, but anything vertical, the man is excellent throwing those passes. And that's what you guys were doing to us all day long. The seams, the posts, Devontae was eating. And then whenever you guys needed to do something, AJ was like, hey, I got Isaiah Rodgers. And this, we're going to do, right? So it's one of those things where it hurts when you make them beat you with their second best thing, and it's enough to do it, right? And so I think that's what ends up hurting is, if we'd had just that little window where Carson forgot what team he played for, we could have won this game, right? But, to the victor go the spoils, congrats on the victory. We still got to figure out who our quarterback is, whether when McCarthy comes back, it's going to be McCarthy or it's going to be Wentz, because Wentz has his moments. But overall, Wentz has been playing better than the 2 games McCarthy played. And so what do we do in that circumstance? We got to figure that out. But anyway.
You want my take on it?
Yeah, good.
Couple of things. I'm talking about Wentz. I think that was my first time really watching him play a full game. Even though he did play with the Rams, he played I think a couple of years ago, our final game of the season against the 49ers. The game plan was a little bit different than what I saw today. A lot of erratic throws. He had guys open down the field, particularly Jefferson, couldn't get him the ball. He had Addison on a go route, and he threw it more towards the sideline, caused Addison up to adjust. Addison caught the ball. Had he thrown it and led him properly, then it would have been an easy touchdown. So there was just a lot of missed opportunities I saw with Wentz, which surprised me. The intentional grounding, that was a head scratcher. You had a guy in the flat, wide open, and he literally looked at the guy, saw the pressure, and just threw and just threw the ball to the ground, right? Ridiculous. So I'm looking at this, and you're right. I'm like, is he throwing this game for the Eagles? Like, it just didn't make any sense. And then, of course, you were in the game. Now, here's the thing: the Vikings should not have been in that game, right? with the erraticness of Wentz and all of the miscues that they were having, I still thought the Eagles should have had a little bit more of a command on the game than they did. So that's still a bit of a concern for me with you guys. Still not understanding why Saquon can't get going in the run. That's very surprising. He hasn't had he hasn't broken a long touchdown yet for the season, which is, I don't know. It could be the line, but I don't know if he's lost. I don't want to say lose a step. I don't want to say that just yet, but something's just not right. You got that Madden thing going on too, right? So don't know, but it is kind of weird, right? How all of a sudden there's this big drop in his production. But good win for the Eagles. Eagles needed this win. This was a must win for you guys. If you had lost this game, it would have been, I mean, who knows, right? It would have been a lot of media play this week. Don't know how Sirianni would have been able to spin it, but you got AJ the ball. And I texted you with that. I'm like, finally, right? Just get AJ the ball.
That's it.
Got him the ball early. You got the defense on their heels. So with Flores now, with all that scheming, it comes to life when it's 3rd and long. Okay? When it's 3rd and long, then he's able to do his magic. Right? Because now you don't know where that pressure is coming from. But what the Eagles did, they kept the pressure on those first downs, second downs, kept it 3rd and short, used that ridiculous push-tush, right? Tush-push, whatever it is, right? But
only one time.
Right? But you did it.
Yeah.
What I want to know, this is what I want to know, right? Because, Doc, I don't know if you saw the defensive scheme that you guys attempted against that play.
Yes.
I need someone to explain that to me, because if my eyes were correct, the man was just laying on the ground in front of the ball.
So for those who didn't see it, it was a 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1? Right?
I think it was 4th.
They were going to do the tush push, and the Vikings had a defensive player almost like an 85-degree angle. He was almost horizontal on his elbows and knees. And on the snap, he just went down to the ground. And I think the thought was everyone else is going to go on top, and they're not going to let the Eagles get leverage, because you can't get under on the ground, right?
Let me tell you something.
We're just gonna lose one guy, whatever that safety, we'll, just chalk it up, whatever else. And if they decide to throw, which they never do, we're going to be in trouble. But we're going to attack it and make sure they can't get leverage, because there's literally somebody on the ground that they can't get under. And so I think they got about 1.5 yards. They still got it by a decent amount, but it wasn't that 3-4 yard they tend to get, because I'm not sure that's going to work for other teams either. But I do appreciate the attempt to do something a little different, just to be like, hey, folks are trying to figure out how to stop it.
And whoever, I don't know who that player was, but if you were able to take one for the team,
yes,
right,
yes.
Dude, you are gonna be at the bottom of that willingly. Nah, man, that takes a lot of gumption to be able to put yourself in that position, knowing what's about to happen.
You're the guy on the field goal attempt who comes around the corner and goes full float.
Mm.
Yeah, your boy was like, "Hey, hold my bill.
Hold my bill.
I'm going to take one for the team on this one."
And from what I heard, he was he's not a regular player. I mean,
you can't be.
Yeah, no. He's coming off the bench.
You can't. You can't be important. You cannot be important.
For who?
You are not important, dude. You are an extra body. You are expendable.
Yeah.
To be in that position.
But I kind of respected it, because I think, gladly, what you saying?
No, I was gonna say, you could imagine you on the practice squad. They call you up, come to the coach's office. So we got this play.
Anything, boss. Right? Anything.
I'm trying to get on the field.
We call you up.
I just want to
play. This one play. We need you to lay down. When they do that tush push, we just need you to lay.
Lay
it all on the line, coach? No.
Yeah.
Just lay down.
Yeah. That boy, let me tell you, that's no joke right there. That is no joke. But I do respect it because, that does the what they're trying to do is, like you said, Doc, get leverage, whoever can get the lowest, and whoever could get the lowest and get under there, and then those guys push and get Jalen on kind of on top of them, sort of like a pulley or push wheel or something on top of these guys, and for them to get as low as they can so the Eagles can't get the push under the bottom is I think crybaby Chris Jones tried to do that in the Super Bowl last year, would cause him to had his neck over there and he crying and stuff on the sideline. So, but yeah, I mean, that was, it was crazy, but it's one of those things, man. Like I said, this was a good game. Again, I definitely think, Carson Wentz, was the factor, in this game, in that first half for sure. Yeah. All right. So next game we had the Patriots, the Titans. Patriots 31, Titans 13. This wasn't a shocker to me. Drake continues to look good. It wasn't really that much of a shocker. Nothing that I could really say. One thing I did see, however, was Cam Ward. Just the ball slipping out of his hand. I think this is second week in a row where this has happened. So I don't know what's going on there with the ball coming out of his hand. It wasn't wet. It wasn't raining. Nothing like that.
Doing too much.
What's that?
You're doing too much.
Yeah. You're trying to overdo it, but yeah, I mean, this one, it's nothing much I could say on this because, this is sort of what I expected and how the game was going to go.
So first off, I'm going to go thumbs down to the Tennessee Titans organization. They looking at the schedule and they see Mike Vrabel coming, and they don't want to hear the chants booing Callahan. Why'd we let Vrabel go? Look what Vrabel's doing in New England. Okay, so we gonna fire Callahan and let Mike McCoy coach. So even though we gonna hear the Vrabel chants, it ain't gonna be as loud because this ain't the dude that replaced Vrabel. It is not lost on me the timing of Callahan's firing. Right now, the Patriots look good. Drake May again, very efficient, completing his passes. Stephon Diggs, Booty. You got the running game going with Stevenson. And then for whatever reason, as much as I like what Cam Ward seems to embody, the hard worker, first one in, last to leave, and maybe he's trying too much, but like the interception was a bad interception, and like the fumble return for a touchdown was catastrophic for them. Like once that happened, pretty much the game was over, for all intents and purposes. So we'll see if Mike McCoy can help right the ship with the Titans. But yeah, Vrabel, was saying it wasn't a big deal, but of course it was a big deal, and the Pats, the players were super excited for him, getting him that win.
Yeah, I got to give a lot of props to Drake May. I think he set a record, at least a club record, 90% completion rate in this game. I mean, he put on a clinic. He was 21 of 23, 222 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's as clean a game as you can possibly have. And I'm looking at some of those throws that he was making, and they were big boy throws. He looks like a solid Pro Bowler right now. And I mean, I still can't really name any of the receivers he's throwing to. Diggs, he got Diggs, right? And what's his name? Booty, or whatever his name is. Kayshawn Booty from LSU, right? One of those LSU wide receivers.
Booty, right? Keep on rocking everywhere.
But no, he's dealing it out. He's looking like he's really stepping into form, right? He's first round pick, and he's starting to look like that franchise quarterback. Tennessee still got a long way to go. I don't see Tennessee. I mean, Tennessee's not going to do anything this season. Like even the game that they won, they shouldn't have won that game, right? But I'm looking at the Patriots' schedule, and they could very well go 13-4, guys, right? Because so after this game, they got Cleveland, Atlanta, Tampa Bay, that I don't see them winning that one. But the Jets, the Bengals, the Giants, Buffalo, they beat Buffalo earlier in Buffalo, by the way. Baltimore's not looking good. The Jets again, and Miami. That's the rest of their schedule. And I'm looking at, I'm like, they could really go 13-4.
Yeah.
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 So very well. It's amazing how good you look as a coach when you got a good quarterback.
Man. Yeah.
It's night and day. When you got a quarterback, all of a sudden, you know how to coach.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's crazy.
Lee, what do you think the difference was? Because Gerard Mayo had him last year, but he wasn't doing this.
But he was a rookie, right? And he didn't have Josh McDaniel.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
He
big.
didn't have Josh McDaniel. Yeah.
I don't think Gerard Mayo was set up for success, man.
He was not.
No, you yeah.
If you kept Gerard Mayo and brought in Josh McDaniel, same thing.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Yes.
Same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. That was just, that's unfortunate for him. Yeah. But speaking of quarterbacks, the New York Jets, Justin Fields, last week he had negative 10 yards. This week it looked like it got even worse, and he was benched, and Tyrod Taylor came in relief of him. He didn't look that much better. But, Carolina Panthers win this game. I think we predicted Carolina was going to win this game because the Jets, and I was trying to figure out, like, what is going on with Justin Fields. And I heard, I don't know who it was on ESPN. Was it Cam or was it somebody? I don't know who it was, but they said Justin Fields is just not good. They've just flat out said Justin Fields is just not good. And so, I want to see what you guys have seen over this. Is it Justin Fields? I want to believe in Justin Fields. I want to believe. All right. Because this is what they said in their take when they said it. They said he was in Chicago and, didn't look good in Chicago. Now you could call that scheme, you could call that coaching, et cetera, et cetera. Then he went to the Steelers, and he was with the Steelers, and okay, looked okay, look okay with the Steelers, and now with the Jets, and it's like, what's really going on? Is he in the right spot? Because he cannot be this bad. He cannot be this bad as a quarterback. It gotta be what's surrounding him. I just don't. I can't put my finger on it. But of course, Carolina wins the game 13-7. But for me, I was just looking at Justin Fields and because I wanted to believe in him, but I just don't know. I can't put my finger on what's wrong.
I've had conversations with Lee in the past, right? And like, hey, if you get drafted, you could play in the league, right? The guy has rushed for 1,000 yards in an NFL season. And for some reason, these teams want to make him a drop back quarterback. It's like, hey, that is not his skill set. It's just not, right? No different than Cordell Stewart back in the day. Use the man's athleticism, have him on rollouts, have him on bootlegs, have him on design quarterback runs, right? The offensive coordinator was, I think, the Detroit Lions, like, passing game coordinator last year. But the Jets aren't equipped to be running the ball and having Justin Fields do play action, much less that being Justin Fields' skill set, right? So, you have a Harbaugh as the head coach, you have a Belichick as the head coach, you'd see what he could do game in, game out. But if you're trying to play like your prototypical pro-style offense with Justin Fields in the NFL, it's not going to work. He is not going to be an accurate quarterback. You might get something kind of half decent with Andy Reid because everyone does well with Andy Reid as the head coach running the offense, but it's going to be more of that Donovan McNabb stuff where it's still going to be like 3 or 4 passes that bounce to the receivers. But I think you got to utilize his athleticism, and dropping him back as a quarterback, a drop back quarterback, that's just not his skill set, not in the pros.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, coaching matters, man. Right? It's rare to find any quarterback coming into the NFL and they're ready. Like that whole Jaden Daniels thing that happened this rookie season, that's an anomaly. That doesn't happen very often. Even when you look at Drake May now, Drake May looks night and day compared to where he was last year to now. And like we said, now he has Josh McDaniel as well as an OC. I can't, like the OCs that Justin Fields has had, right? With Nagy there, I think that year when he got drafted.
I think it was Nagy.
Nagy, right? People think Nagy now is a great OC because he has Patrick Mahomes. Okay, but we all know who's actually running that show over there in KC. It's not Nagy, right? And then from there he goes to Pittsburgh, and it's with Arthur Smith, right? Arthur Smith, look what he did with the Falcons, and now he's here with the Jets with an unproven OC. So he hasn't. The guy hasn't been properly developed.
Yeah.
Anyone that has made it to the NFL has talent and has the talent to succeed. I firmly believe that. If you made it, especially if you were a first-round pick, you can succeed. But you have to be in the right system. You have to be with the right coach. You have to be in the right organization. Look at Baker Mayfield. Look what happened to him. He went from the Browns, went to Carolina, looked like trash with the Carolina Panthers, came to the Rams for a hot second, and then went to the Bucs, and now all of a sudden he's a top quarterback. He's a top 10, legitimate top 10 quarterback. Look at Sam Darnold with the Jets, same organization, seeing ghosts. Okay, now look, and he's lighting it up. It matters. Coaching matters, and I don't think he's had the right offensive-minded coach to really help him develop and be the quarterback that he can that he can be. No, he's not a typical drop back quarterback, but I do recall the last time he played a full college season with the Buckeyes, 14 games, he threw for over 3,000 yards, 41 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. When I watched him, and I watched a lot of him, unfortunately, when he was in college, but I didn't know that he could run. He was slinging the ball all over the place. So he can pass and he can throw. I know that's the same thing, but he's accurate. He's not in the right system. He's not with the right coaches.
Yeah.
And it's evident that the Jets don't know what they're doing, because we've said this again before. This is the exact same defense that Robert Saleh had. And in as much as things weren't going good for Robert Saleh, the defense was never the problem.
Right.
It was only the offense that he couldn't get right. But this Jets team, all 3 phases, looks like trash.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. And look what Robert Saleh doing with the 49ers team right now. So
Right.
defense. Yeah. All right. So Cleveland Browns 31-6. Your boy Tua, man. 3 interceptions, man. 3 interceptions. He was seeing goats all day, man. You know, this
He's waiting for people to come to the meetings, man.
I know.
He's waiting for them to come to the meetings.
They trying to throw people under the bus, and they not coming to meetings and all kind of stuff. And here he goes. Tua, you know, again, this wasn't a shocker. You know, I thought they were actually gonna score more than 6 points, but you know, again, Cleveland's defense, you know, I expected Cleveland's defense to do that thing the way they have. Dylan Gabriel, you know, had a okay game. I mean, I don't think it was. I mean, it was all right. I think he was. Let me look here. 13 of 18, 116 yards.
It was the Quinyon Judkins show.
Yeah.
It was the Quinyon Judkins show.
Yeah, Quinyon Judkins definitely with the 3 touchdowns. Yeah, that was definitely. And you know, this may be what they want. This may be what Cleveland wants. They want a quarterback that is going to manage the game, and is going to just, you know, hand off, dink and dunk every now and again. Don't make any mistakes, and then let the defense kind of do what the defense does. And I think that might be who they are looking for, and that's what their MO, I guess, so to say, who they want to be, their identity. But you know, I guess you could say that because he's a rookie, you know, rookie quarterback, they bringing him along. But I don't have any faith in Cleveland on the offensive side, just as much as I don't have any faith in the Jets, and just as much as I don't have any faith in Tua, because I mean, it just seems like the Miami Dolphins are in a sinking ship. This thing is going down, and it's going down fast. And so, yeah, Quincy Judkins, he definitely was the star of the show in this one, man, and just took it and ran from there with it. This win was expected by the Cleveland Browns.
Cam Ward had a quarterback rating, not QBR, quarterback rating 92.2. Justin Fields had a quarterback rating of 59.7. Tua Tagovailoa had a quarterback rating of 24.1, right? So, 12 for 23, 3 interceptions after the last game when you had 3 interceptions.
Yes.
Right. And so your defense tired because they're on the field all the time in bad situations. Judkins running all over you. Cleveland even had to ask Dylan Gabriel to do much, right? Just don't turn the ball over. I ended up winning 31-6. So I don't know how much longer they're going to be going with Tua. And I don't know if they're going to keep McDaniel through the end of the year or not. But the vultures seem to be circling that podium when those dudes go up to talk. They ain't eaten yet, but they're circling. And when the head coach is talking about, I'm not focused on my job and my job security. I'm just giving my all every single day to everyone in the entire organization. That's never good. You don't have much job security when they ask you questions about your job security.
So the Miami Dolphins ownership, they did come out this week and say they're not looking to make any changes anytime soon. So basically, Mike McDaniel is okay for at least for another week.
They said that like this.
Yeah. But one would think you take that with a grain of salt. But at least for another week, he's fine. Mike McDaniel comes out and he says, in terms of, because they did ask him about the quarterback position, are they going to make any changes? He said, everything's on the table now. Everything's on the table. What I found interesting, and I'm having a problem pulling up my stats here, so forgive me, I'm kind of going in this one blind. But if I remember correctly, when I watched part of that game, they did pull Tua out, right? And then they put in Ewers, like he finished the game. Now, these guys, they make a lot of money. They know a lot of football, way more than me. So obviously they know more than what I know. I don't understand why Zach Wilson didn't play in that game and why he isn't being considered to start, at least in the interim now until they kind of figure this stuff out. Sit Tua and put in Zach Wilson. I don't understand why that's not at least the direction to go into to see what that yields. But Ewers came in, and Doc, I don't know if you can see the stats, but from what I can see, he did not do that well.
5 for 8, 53 yards, no touchdowns, no ints, 2 sacks for 20 yards.
Okay. Well, 5 for 8. Okay. Right. Not deplorable, but
pedestrian.
Pedestrian, right? But Zach Wilson, he didn't play, right? No stats for him, right? So yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. But all that being said, I said it at the beginning of the season. I said it last season. Tua is trash. He's not a good quarterback. He thinks he's better than what he really is. He throws everybody else under the bus. And now all of it is coming to fruition because, I will say this. That game, and I do want to put in this caveat and give a little bit of grace to him and Dylan Gabriel. They did have 40-mile-an-hour gust winds in that game, which is one of the main reasons why on both sides you didn't see a lot of passing attempts.
Yeah.
And yards. You had a lot more runs than anything else. So I do get that. But it also magnifies the fact that, at least on the Miami side with Tua, he's not a strong arm quarterback. And we've seen him when he's placed in certain situations, especially when it's inclement weather, he's nerfed. It's like this. That you cannot depend on him to get you through that game. You got to have a strong running game in order to compensate for that. And I just don't see how you can see this and think that he is going to be the quarterback going forward. Definitely not in the future. So if they want to salvage the season, they got to sit him. They got to see what the other quarterbacks bring to the table. And I would start with Zach Wilson.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why they're not giving him an opportunity either. I don't know what's going on there, but hopefully he could get on the field in some kind of way, and showcase what he has, either for the Dolphins going forward or another team, see if he could get somewhere else after the season.
So, and real quick, to a point you've talked about in the past, the Dolphins the Miami team is a misfit in the AFC East.
Yes.
They got to go to Buffalo at some point.
Yeah.
They got to go to New York at some point. They got to go to New England at some point, right?
Right.
So they're a warm weather team playing in a cold, windy division. And they have a
Right.
quarterback who doesn't have an arm, right? And on the bench is a dude with an arm.
Right.
And so even more of a reason to see what he can do, because in that division, you need to have a strong arm quarterback, because at least 3 of your games are going to be outdoors in the cold.
Yeah. Yeah. And just a little bit of NFL history here, right? Because whoever made this decision, and if it was someone on the Miami Dolphins side, they screwed up. Because a while ago, we only had 3 divisions in each conference, right? You had the North, right? You had the East, and you had the West. And for the AFC East, it was the Jets, the Bills, the Dolphins, the Patriots, and the Colts. When they created the AFC South, they decided to move the Colts out of the East and put them in the South. I didn't understand why Miami didn't go to the South.
Right.
If had Miami go to the South, they wouldn't have to worry about these cold weather games. Okay? Because in the South, you playing the Texans, right? You playing those guys. Right? So you wouldn't have to worry about, what was that?
And
In Tennessee. Right, in Tennessee. So come November, December, you're good. You don't have to worry about snow. You don't have to worry about inclement weather. Okay? But for whatever reason, Miami decided or thought it was okay or was complicit in staying in the East because they didn't raise no bones about it. So obviously they were fine with it. And strategically, that was a horrible idea. Horrible idea.
Well, if they don't work, after this year, I know the ship is there's going to be some drastic changes there in Miami. Things don't change before in the next couple of weeks. That could happen as well. So keep our eye on that situation. See what's going on there in Miami. The Chicago Bears, man. Chicago Bears are 4-2. 26-14 win over the New Orleans Saints. Spencer Rattler throws 3 interceptions, but has 233 yards. And I think the Chicago Bears, and I think we mentioned this before, I think the Chicago Bears now are starting to find a little rhythm here with Ben Johnson. This is gonna be this is your division, man. I mean, the Bears are starting to look like something. Is this real, or is this like I don't know? Is this like Jaguar-esque, or is this like something real that's brewing here? Caleb Williams and Lee, I think you mentioned this before. He's not going to be. He's going to be who he is, and he's Ben Johnson is trying to get him in this system. However, he's in the system but out of the system. So he's doing what he can with his skill set, which is a great skill set, by the way. And they're winning games. Chicago in the past few years have not looked like this. So I could tell there's something different in Chicago, which is Ben Johnson and what he's brought to the table. I just don't know just yet. And with you guys' division, NFC North, everybody's playing good. Everybody's playing good in there. So this is going to be interesting as we continue to go and get along into the season. But Doc, I wanted to ask you real quick, like, what's your thought? Seeing that you guys play the Bears, all the time, are they for real or are they Jaguar-esque?
I am going to hold my Dennis Green quote for the right time about the Bears. I'm going to hold that, right? I'm going to hold it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
here's what I will say. Ben Johnson is trying to take the formula that he had in Detroit and implement it lock, stock, and barrel in Chicago. And the same way Detroit embraces the run first, play action, we're going to be physical, is Chicago. That's their bread and butter, right? Like they love that. 85 Bears, the whole nine, right? DeAndre Swift going for 124 yards, 19 carries. Morning guy going for 13 carries, 81. That's what he wants to do. He wants to run the ball like 30 times a game, right? Two backs, just like in Detroit. And then the quarterback is supposed to thrive based on a running game. Caleb Williams, 15 for 26, 172, no touchdowns, one interception, right? So the running game, they're getting that running game to start to flow. And I don't think it's because they're playing New Orleans. I think we figured they'd beat New Orleans, but they're getting that running game to go, getting that defense to start to come around. I just think it becomes does Caleb Williams really understand what they're trying to do and what he's being asked to do? Because if he does that, they're going to be difficult to beat. But that's not what he has been used to doing. On time, on rhythm, not playing hero football. And so that's the part that's the questionable is, if he can play Jared Goff football and not superhero football, the Bears are going to be a difficult out if they make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, you took a lot of my take right there, but I'm going to try to. That you were spot on, right? So man, there's so much to unpack on this one because you both know I've been following Caleb Williams since college, and I think the world of him, like in terms of his skill set and what he could possibly do if put in the right system. Okay, this ain't the right system for him. You said, I think you said, Doc. He knows what to do and he understands what to do, right? The problem is he can't do it, at least not yet. Watching that game and just seeing the silly mistakes that are taking place, not able to take the snap from under center, fumbling that a couple of times, still not throwing on rhythm, still playing a little bit of hero ball. And you can see he's trying not to do it. Holding on the ball for an obscene amount of time unnecessarily and missing guys, right? Like when he's throwing on the run, for some reason, I mean, that thing is on a rope, pinpoint accuracy. When he is set in the pocket, all over the place. Okay? Now, I'm going to say something that I didn't even realize I would say. So, and this might be the last time I said it. I'm going to say it. But Ben Johnson has this team right where he wants it. But the only thing he's missing is a Jared Goff at quarterback. If he had a Jared Goff at quarterback, he would have the offense running exactly the way he had it running with Detroit. Because I watched the game and I'm like, okay, he has the running game clicking. He has the offensive line there dominating the line of scrimmage. And then when he needs Caleb to pull back, use that the play action and just take it that extra mile just to stick it to the defense, he flounders. So I don't know. I want to say give it some more time. Caleb's going to eventually get it. But I don't know, man, because when you look at Ben, and it's so funny when you're winning as a coach and you're still angry, right? Did you see? Because if you saw him at the press conference, he is not happy. The defense, they're getting takeaways. The running game is solid. And then he said, how's the offense? He goes, he does this. And he just shakes his head. So he is not happy with the way the quarterback is playing. And I'm hoping somehow, some way, Caleb kind of rebounds from this. You're asking Caleb to go against everything that he has done for the entirety of his career and flip it overnight in one season. That's just not going to happen. But to his credit, he is trying. He is trying. We just need to see how much patience Ben is going to have. If he gets to the point when we get to the end of the season, and let's say that they're making a playoff push and they can't cross that threshold and it's because of the quarterback, yeah, I'll leave it like that.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely get that. Some things are going to happen there, but I think it's going to be out of this season or next season, just depending on what their record is at the end of the season. So Kansas City Chiefs just keep on rolling, man. Like I mentioned, they got Rasheed Rice back. Patrick Mahomes looking good. 286 yards, 3 touchdowns. I had this as one of my upset specials, man. Boy,
Couldn't be more wrong.
yeah, boy, that was way wrong. That was way wrong. I mean, good grief, 31-0. I mean, they dismantled these guys, man. And I think Rasheed Rice had 2 touchdowns in this game,
hmm
and coming back, I still the because Patrick Mahomes is so elite, they don't even need a running game right now. They just have, mediocre running game with Isaiah Pacheco. It's just it is what it is. They don't even need it right now. It's because, you know, he's just an elite quarterback. He knows how to, and Andy Reid is lucky to have a quarterback like him. I'm just saying. Because if Andy didn't have him, let me tell you, boy, they wouldn't have been winning no Super Bowls like this. I promise you. But what can you say? Kansas City Chiefs back on. Looks like they are building up steam, building up momentum, and they are going to do what Kansas City Chiefs do. So this is they're getting back healthy again, getting back to where they can make some moves. So hopefully, well, not hopefully, but they will be there at the end of the day in the playoffs, and it's gonna be up to somebody to beat them. I don't right now. I'm not seeing anybody. I'm not seeing anybody in the AFC that is really going to challenge them if they're playing like this. But we'll see who could step up and take them out.
So I'm gonna take a different stance. I'm gonna talk about the Las Vegas Raiders, right? They're now 2-5, and sometimes you just have like a stinker of a game, the game where you didn't even watch tape. You just back in the day, you just burn the tape, put it in the trash, light it up, and be like, let's just go for next week, right? The first series, they had 5 plays for 16 yards. And that was the most plays they had on any drive that game. And that was the most yards they had on any drive that game. It was just punts, I think 1 turnover on downs, and a fumble. I mean, that's what gets you the 0 points. But it's like the offense did nothing on the ground or through the air, and the defense couldn't stop the other team's offense. So they got a good head coach. I think Geno Smith's a decent quarterback. They've got a really good running back in Ashton Jeanty. And this is just one of those games where you played your C+ football against a team playing B+ to A- football in a hostile environment at Arrowhead, and you get 31-0. And I'm not sure there's anything you can gain from watching the tape. You might decide to make them watch it, but yeah, because I mean, you look at the stats and like there's almost no stats. Offense did nothing, next to nothing. So anyway,
Patrick Mahomes, his day was done the middle of the third quarter, right? Mid third quarter, he was done. He didn't play another snap. I mean, it doesn't get any worse than that. But yeah, I think Kansas City they look dangerous again. They got they have this weird mix now in the wide receiver room. I don't know how to put my finger on it, but they got fast guys, possession guys, right? Mid-tier guys, and everyone is contributing now. And with Rasheed Rice in the fold, he seems to be Patrick Mahomes' favorite target now. And then there's Travis Kelce. I don't think they need a running game, at least not during the regular season. We know how this is going to change when postseason comes. You better be able to run that ball. So they're going to have to fix that and fix that quick. That being said, Las Vegas looked horrible. They looked deplorable. And to add insult to injury, I think Max Crosby got hurt.
Wow.
Don't know the seriousness of the injury, but he got knocked out the game, and it seemed like it was pretty bad. So Brady, I don't know if he got to come down and fix something himself, but they right, but they got him up there in the executive room, and he's gonna have to start making some suggestions on what they need to do. But I like Geno. Geno's a good quarterback. They got a few guys. I don't like the wide receiver room over there. And I think Bowers is hurt as well, the tight end.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Tom to the rescue, man.
We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. So this game, this next game here was this was exciting. This was one that I really wanted to see. Indianapolis Colts against the Los Angeles Chargers. It was a good game. Justin Herbert again, just looking phenomenal, man.
Your
420
boy.
yards. My boy,
Your
man.
boy.
My boy.
Your
My
boy.
boy. Yeah, my boy, man. My boy Justin Herbert, man. I mean, looking good. I mean, he had 2 interceptions. I don't think one of them was his fault, really. But Daniel Jones, Indianapolis Colts. 38-24. They looking like they for real, man. 6-1.
Yeah.
And they looking like they for real. Jonathan Taylor is just killing it, man. Just they got all facets really working well. I think. I mean, we talk about this so much every week. It just looks like Daniel Jones is like on a trajectory here that he's really kind of setting himself up to for an MVP type run and the Indianapolis Colts. So Steichen is doing a good job. I mean, they are he has the team clicking right where they want to be. And it's early still, but this could potentially be setting up with the Kansas City and Indianapolis, and and seeing where this could go. But for right now, they look good. They're the top team in the AFC right now. So I think you got three teams emerging kind of there. You got the Colts, you have Kansas City coming, and then you have New England, right? So you got some teams kind of trying to separate themselves. But right now, I think the Colts, Daniel Jones is the difference maker. And with Jonathan Taylor, I don't, you really can't. I mean, what can you say? So great team win for Indianapolis. They just keep rolling.
I always get worried when a team is playing really well, like September, October, because it's hard to keep that efficiency going into January and February. But when it's based on the running game travels. Like, unless there's injury, you're not talking about precision timing with
Right
like
there.
the running game travels. And that was very efficient and effective. 16 carries, 94 yards, and 3 touchdowns for Jonathan Taylor. And Daniel Jones is playing good, efficient football, moving the chains with his feet when he has to, hitting receivers, making good throws, and they're clicking. We had talked earlier about quarterbacks and who could and couldn't play like the right situation. Daniel Jones leaves the Giants, is the backup in Minnesota with O'Connell, and then goes to Indy and is lighting it up, right? And you're like, well, if it's Steichen, why couldn't Anthony Richardson do it? And hopefully at some point he gets a situation where he's someplace where they can use his skill set. He can find someone to help him really understand what's going on, right? But it's impressive to see the Colts and what they're doing. I think it's durable. I don't know if it's enough to take them, to the promised land, but they're looking good. They're playing good football, and it's not a fluke, right? It's like, this is sound football, and it's
Yeah, no. Again, like Doc said, going back to our previous conversation, is if it was about Justin Fields, is it him? Is he just that bad? There were times we were looking at Daniel Jones when he was with the Giants, and we were thinking the exact same thing, right? He looked almost like playing almost just as bad as Fields is playing now. And then you put him in a new situation with the right coach who understands how to use his particular skill set. There's a compatibility there. And now all of a sudden he's talking about MVP, right? So, like I said, and everyone can play. You just got to be in the right position, in the right situation. That being said, Jonathan Taylor is the best running back in the league right now. I think this is another 3-touchdown game he had, which is, I mean, it's like a normal occurrence to him at this point in time, which is ridiculous. And I think what's really being undersold here is that the Colts defense is pretty stout. And, the defensive backs and that front seven, like they seem to be, they're not great, but they are good across the board on that defense. Steichen has that team humming. And so that being said, I think when you asked who can possibly compete with the Chiefs, I think the Colts can go toe to toe with those guys. the way that they're playing. So I'm looking forward to if and when that those teams match up
Yeah.
with each other.
Yeah. With that being said, who could go toe to toe? I forgot this team when I was talking about them, but the Denver Broncos. So I know, Lee, that you are not sold on the quarterback in Denver.
Okay.
Right? Okay, so I want to hear from you on this. Okay, because they were shut out for 3 quarters. I mean, shut out. I looked at it. I think it was in the third quarter. I think it was 19-0. And I was like, I cannot believe this. The Giants. I was like, Giants going to win this game. I didn't even go back to check the thing because I was like, this is over. I mean, the game is over. And then when I looked, 33 points in the fourth quarter? How does this even happen? And I mean, it was crazy. I know there was some rookie mistakes on Jackson Dart's part, some things that part there that kind of, help with that, and turnovers and stuff like that. But man, Lee, I want to hear from you, man, because Bo Nix, he had 50 attempts, 27 50, 27 29, 2 TD.
Is that me or him?
This is me. But no, you guys. I mean, I know you.
Thanks, we can't hear you.
Now,
In and out.
Yeah, you're choppy.
This might be this hotel internet.
Yeah, the football god saving me from having to talk about Bo Nix.
Yeah, they helping you out, man. They helping you out. But yeah, I want to hear from you on this.
Yeah, no. So I gotta give him his due. I have to give him his due. So I'll reverse and go back. So with Bo Nix, I'll give him his due. He really surprised me in this game. The first half, I was thinking to myself, typical, right? This is what I expected. Bo Nix, he's not that special, yada, yada, yada. Come that fourth quarter, he turned it on and he did something that I've never seen before in all my years of watching football. Never seen that. So I would say this at best, I can say Bo Nix is streaky. He's a streaky quarterback. He has some qualities, some special qualities, especially when he uses his legs in that Sean Payton system. So he's not terrible, as I once stated. I will retract that, but I think there's still a long way to go for me to consider him like to be a potentially great quarterback. He can work his way up there and get to that point. And this was really an indication of him being able to pull out miracles, right? And this is what you want from your quarterback, to be able to, it doesn't matter what the score is, it doesn't matter the situation, you're always in it. Everybody craves to have a quarterback like that on their squad, on their team. And Denver Broncos, obviously, they seem to have that. So with that being said, he's a good quarterback and he's showing it, and he keeps his team in the game no matter what the situation is. That was a heck of a win. Of course, the ball had to bounce your way, and it happens for every team, right? But it's the teams that capitalize on it. And when the Giants kicker missed that extra point, and it was 33 seconds left, or 35, something like that left. Even I said, I'm like, Broncos are going to win this game. He's going to get them in field goal position, and lo and behold, it just took about one or two plays in field goal position. Kudos, man. Like he's a good quarterback. I got to give it up. I
just wanted to add that.
Yeah.
No, this was a very unusual, atypical game, right? So first off, with Bo Nix, Sean Payton was looking for a quarterback. He had some analysis where he was trying to calculate percentage of dropbacks in college, where they had like the fewest negative plays, like sacks, interceptions, fumbles, right? And like the number one person, the fewest negative plays was Bo Nix. So his rationale was more times than not, quarterbacks lose you games than win you games. So let me get someone who's going to protect the rock and keep us in games, right? And so, I think he had one fumble, but he recovered it, no interceptions, has the comeback. A few things. One, hopefully for Jackson Dart, long-term, this is the best thing to happen to him because he's a great young quarterback, makes plays, has great pocket presence, always looking downfield, distributes the ball well. but like that interception was a very costly interception, and he kind of has to learn to not put his team in harm's way when the only way they're going to be in harm's way is you turn the ball over, right? Couple other things. At the end of the game, you're looking to the press conferences, and the Giants head coach, he is just flummoxed, like lost for words, don't know what to say. We was up, I don't know, right? And then you hear Sean Payton, and Sean Payton's like, yeah, we won, but we got a lot to learn from this game. Like I am not celebrating this win, right? Like, and it's like, okay, this is why Sean Payton ends up running this game, and Dayball loses this game. That you're losing, you tell your team to stay with it, they find a way to win, and he's like, yes, we won, but we shouldn't have been in this situation to have to do this amazing feat to win. And if we think this means we're now ready, it's not. There's a whole bunch of stuff you got to get corrected, right? Like he's like on the team for winning, right? And then the other guy can't explain why they had a 19-point lead and lost. And when you get down, because there's the pass interference, and they get first and goal at the 1 with like 40 seconds left on the clock, and Denver has no timeouts. I don't know why you don't just take a knee and run 25 seconds off the clock and then go second and goal from the 1, knowing if you score any of those next 3 times, even if your kicker, who already missed an extra point earlier in the game, you're not giving them enough time to march down the field on 2 plays. Like you gave them just enough time to make 2 good throws, inbounds, run to the line, clock the ball, and kick a field goal to win. Now, if the kicker had hit the extra point, it would have been a field goal to tie, right? And I don't understand why you allowed that much time left, knowing how dangerous Bo Nix can be, the comeback they were doing. So, anyway, it does make me wonder sometimes. It makes me wonder more and more about Daboll as a head coach. But that's just my critique on it. So,
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this: they celebrated the Giants kicker last week. Coming back with the 4 field goals and hitting it, and they winning. And this week, they suffered from the misses. So this is why he probably got cut in the previous team he was with, because of the streakiness. So we see, because Lee, I think I mentioned this to you, that he had just got cut and then won that game. Won that game with the 4 field goals and all that stuff like that.
Yeah.
And now you see this week what pops up. So what can you say? And Daboll is sort of like that too when it comes to a coaching standpoint. Streaky. That's why he couldn't figure out what was going on in this game.
We also want to call out real quick, the Broncos, they were celebrating Demaryius Thompson.
Yes.
Right? They put him in the Ring of Honor, Demaryius Thompson Day, right? I don't know, man. Like weird things happen when when those things are going on, and it's a feel good story for the organization, especially on a day like that, celebrating a guy like that who was gone way too early.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. One last thing on this, and then we'll move on. I just want to figure out why Sean Payton decided, we're not going to celebrate this time. We're but then against the Eagles, you celebrate. I just want to find. I just wanted to, I'm just trying to figure this out. Oh, we're not going to celebrate, but then you celebrate and popping champagne and smoking stuff in the locker room. Anyway, I'll leave that alone. I'll let that go.
Wait, hey, Legs, don't let them commenters come back on you now. They already read you for for being salty on that game.
I know. I'll just leave that alone, man. All right. So, in this next game, we got a couple more games here. So I'm gonna try and speed it up a little bit. But you had the Packers 27, Cardinals 23. Kyler Murray didn't start this game. I think I did say before this that Micah Parsons was going to come alive, and he did. He had 3 sacks in this game. So this was his showing. He came out and was like, okay, I'm going to do something. He came up with 3 sacks. The Packers really still don't impress me. It's not really impressive. they look like who they are going to be. They're going to be one of those middle of the road teams. They're not really. I mean, do they make the playoffs? I don't know. Everybody and you guys division playing well, Doc. But I think when you look at it, I think actually Green Bay should be at the bottom of this of that division. They really are not impressive. Looking at all the teams that's in the division right now, they are the least impressive to me with who they got and how they playing. So, yeah, I mean, I expected them to win this game against the Cardinals. It was closer than I thought it was going to be, but I was glad to see Micah Parsons get out the snide and get his 3 sacks in this game.
I was kind of upset because he was complaining about their officials and the holding and all this stuff, and then he gets like 3 sacks, right? And it's like, oh, it's going to justify this dude. It's going to justify this dude talking even more now, right? Somehow the Packers are 4-1-1. I don't know how they've pulled it off. Jordan Love is decent, but not amazing. I think if the Vikings had, when I say stability at quarterback, whether that's a better playing Carson Wentz or JJ McCarthy who's figured it out, I would agree with you, Lynx, that the Packers would be like the least impressive team in that division. I think the Vikings are teetering because we just don't have what we need to have at quarterback right now. And then Detroit's Detroit and Chicago's unfortunately kind of making a move. But yeah, for Green Bay to barely beat Arizona with Arizona's backup quarterback, and Jacoby Brissett's a really good backup, which means he's a mediocre starter, right? Like, but for them to yeah. So yeah, I mean, we'll see if this, Parsons having this kind of game gets that defensive pressure going, their pass rush going. But yeah, somehow they're 4-1-1, and I think their record is more dicey than Jacksonville's record. Like I don't believe in the Packers. I'll never believe in the Packers. But even in the circumstance, I don't believe in the Packers.
Well said. Well said. Lynx, did I hear you right? You said that you were happy to see Micah Parsons perform.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one could say that you have always been a Micah Parsons fan? Like you
When he was
Explain.
at Penn State, when he was at Penn State, he
Uh-huh.
was he's a Philly boy. He's a Philly boy.
Okay.
He want to play in Philly, man. But he just happened to end up in Texas and then end up in Green Bay. So I mean, I've always I like Micah Parsons. I think he's a good. I didn't like him that he was on the Cowboys, but I
You
like.
sure?
Okay.
Yeah, man.
I think it sounded like you did, right? It sounded like you always been a Micah Parsons fan.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I like him as an individual. I like that he's not in the NFC East anymore.
Okay.
But I know he wanted to be an Eagle, and playing at Penn State, he had some feelings there for the Eagles, but it never worked out. So hey, it is. But I admire him as a player.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I agree with Doc. This Packers offense looks average. I don't know what's going on with Jordan Love either. Like he came into the season, everybody thought that for sure he was gonna be a front runner for MVP. He looks no parts of it. The only thing they have really going for them is the running game. Jacobs is the only consistent thing they really have on the offensive side, and they have weapons all over on the perimeter for their wide receiver. They just can't consistently get them the ball. Yeah, they're 4-1-1. I mean, they lead in the North.
I think because of the time.
Yeah, because I think they lead in the North. So I mean, there's something to be said about that. But their play doesn't indicate to me. They don't seem threatening. I don't see them as a major threat yet. Maybe they turn it around, but nothing kind of stands out to me right now, other than your boy Micah Parsons like coming alive in this last game. Like if that now continues and becomes the norm, then watch out on the defensive side. But that offense doesn't look good right now.
Yeah. And speaking of the Cowboys, they trounced the Commanders 44-22. Obviously, Jaden Daniels goes out of this game.
Yeah.
So Jaden Daniels, I think it was a knee issue. I don't know if it's going to be long term, but I think he may be out a week or two at this point. So it looks like he's been battling some injuries this year. which is contributing to their record. And also, Terry McLaurin hasn't been there, so far for the year. Debo was out. And so, Dak was throwing the ball all over the yard. CD Lamb comes back and is just having a spectacular game. George Pickens still looking good there in the offense. And, Dallas's offense looks good. Dak had 3 touchdowns. And I mean, their offenses look really good. I mean, I can't say anything other than that. I mean, 2 receivers, they're doing their thing out there. So I still don't believe in the Cowboys. I mean, this is what they do every season. I mean, this is what they do. They play in the regular season and they win some games and they do the kind of thing, everybody's hyping them up, Cowboys going to the Super Bowl, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Been there, done that. So look, we could say they're impressive all they want. Dak looks good. He might be in the MVP running, et cetera, et cetera. But look, for the Cowboys, the last 30 plus years, it all comes down to the playoffs. Continue to do what you do in the regular season, Cowboys. Y'all are the regular season team. And Cowboys, please, Cowboy fans, chill out, relax. I mean, y'all not going to the Super Bowl, okay? I mean, you what? You 3-3? Come on now. I mean, for a 3-3 team, let's pump the brakes. You're not going to the Super Bowl. You may not even get out the first round of the playoffs because you always do this. They always give you hope and then they let you down. This is what it is. So let's just save face and y'all just be quiet, shut your mouth and let these dudes do what they do and what they always do. We'll just wait till the playoffs.
So in Dallas, people have hope. People have hope now. Right?
Again.
No. So jokes aside, now that the offense is essentially back to full strength, right? This is what the Cincinnati Bengals was supposed to try to do with a quarterback, 2 receivers, except they actually have a good tight end in Dallas, and they do have a running game, right? Now, the defense is not as bad as the Bengals defense, but the defense is bad. They went up against a team that did not have its top 3 wide receivers, right? They played more man than usual, but Jaden Daniels doesn't do as well against man as against zone. He picks apart zones. So they actually played man, but it also helps when the best receiver is wide receiver 4 on the field. So I think there's stuff for the Cowboys to build on, but they're going to go as far as that defense allows them to go. And if that simply is, hey, we go and play bend but don't break and just hope the other team commits enough penalties to stop 2 drives and we win 38-32, then that's how they got to win. The offense got to put up at least 30 points. The thing is, the offense can put up 30 points a game. So it is not the best way to try to go into the playoffs and win, but they can legitimately make the playoffs if the offense hums like the offense was humming yesterday. But the question is, was the defense looking respectable because they've made those adjustments they needed to make, or because they just went up against a team that had a crippled offense and then got crippled even more when Jaden Daniels went down, and then Marcus Mariota threw this horrible interception, fading to his left, trying to throw right, and Deron Bland does what Deron Bland does, and then that was the nail in the coffin for the game. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, the minute Mariota entered the game, it was like it was over. It was over. But the Cowboys' offense looks scary, and it looks like this is the offense we should be seeing with the Bengals. You're right, with a healthy Burrow, of course, and I think the offense is good enough to possibly get them into the playoffs. They have no running game, however, or at least not a good one. It's spotty. Yeah, I think they're definitely going to be one and done again if they do make it to the playoffs. But it was a good game. CeeDee Lamb is good to see him back. He and George Pickens now at full strength. It's going to be scary if they continue that play going forward. If they do go to the playoffs, I really hope they play the Packers again. I would like to see that. That would be a really good matchup. If they do play the Packers, I think they would not be one and done. They might actually win that game. Yeah. But we'll see.
I think they one and done.
Your unbiased assessment is that the Cowboys are one and done, huh?
Don't matter.
Yeah. So Raheem, I just, whenever you try to say the Falcons are going to do something, Falcons, I can't even count on you. I told my wife, I will never, ever in my life ever pick the Falcons again to win anything because they can't do it. They can't do it. They just can't do it. I mean, I don't get it. I don't understand it. This is this. How is this even happening? How do the Falcons, with the offense, with what you've seen the previous week, and now you come and it looks like you can't even do anything against a depleted. I'm talking about totally depleted now. I'm not even talking about halfway depleted. Totally depleted. So is Sailor that good as a defensive coordinator that he's getting guys like, just stepping up and doing it? I guess he's just that good as a defensive coordinator because these are no-name guys, and these guys are flying to the ball. They're causing turnovers. They're making offenses that one week look great and look like they're going to be unstoppable. To the next week, they look like they don't even know how to play football. It's just ridiculous to see. I mean, the Falcons were inept, man. I mean, they were inept. It just was not a good showing at all. And what can I say about Atlanta, man? It's again one of those teams that are helter skelter. You just don't know who you're gonna get from week to week. Give Bijan the ball, and just go with it. But again, I don't know. That's all I could say about this one. It's just a head scratcher for me when it comes to the Falcons. I can't mess with them.
I think some of this you have to give Robert Saleh credit. Bijan had 14 carries for 40 yards, 2.9 yards a carry. His longest run was 8 yards. They did a really good job stopping the run to make Atlanta one-dimensional. And then Michael Penix is 21 for 38. Like, he's got a good arm, but he shouldn't be throwing the ball close to 40 times a game. Not with offense. Now, the other part that we're all kind of talking about is like, you've got a good quarterback, one of the best running backs in the game, good wide receivers, a really good tight end. How does this offense only put up 10 points, especially after what we saw last week, right? And it's like, you see a girl and her eyes are pretty, her nose is pretty, the lips are pretty, the face is pretty, but it don't really quite work together. And then if like a certain angle, she looks amazing, and then no, it don't really work. That's the offense right now. Like, the sum is less than the parts added together somehow, some way. And I don't know how much of it is the OC. I don't know if they're just not really understanding what they have and how to utilize it. And last week was just a fluke. But for the weapons they have against, again, a team where its two best defensive players are not playing, to only put up 10 points, that don't make much sense. So they gotta figure something out. And I know this is the playmaking quarterback, because Kirk Cousins on the sideline, but they wouldn't fare any better with Kirk Cousins. So they got to figure something out.
Yeah, the part that was upsetting to me was, and I don't know if you guys watched the game, but it felt like every 15 or so minutes they would pan to Fred Warner in the booth.
Yeah.
Right, with his cast and his leg up, as if to say, "Hey guys, they doing this without him. Remember, he ain't on the field. He's still up there, but that defense still locking them down, right?" And I couldn't believe it. They did it to us a couple of weeks ago with a depleted team. When Fred Warner went down, I'm like, okay, fine. Yeah, they are done. This is it. This is good coaching. This is all good coaching. This is the exact opposite of the Jets. That's what this is. Okay, you got on the offensive side, Shanahan missing a whole bunch of pieces. You get his guys, you got a scheme, you got one good guy, and he makes it work. Defense, missing your two studs. Salah, get the guys together, attack Bijan, And you know what they did? They schemed. The plan was let Kyle Pitts beat us because Kyle Pitts was eating. Like
Yeah.
he was all of the pass. He was getting all the targets because they were trying their best to lock down Drake May and make sure that Bijan didn't kill him, but give Pitts the ball, and effectively that worked. So I mean, it's scary because I don't want to think of what it would look like when they do get some of those pieces back, particularly on the offensive side. But to your point, Lynx, and again, I did it too. Remember, I picked them to win, the Falcons. And look, I can't, in all good conscience, say that I can ever believe in that team until they show me a consistency over a long period of time of them making right decisions, getting their act together. You don't have to give me a whole bunch of wins. You just got to show a level of competency for more than give me 5 or 6 games of just really good football. And until they can do that, I can't believe in them.
This just in, you know, the Detroit Lions beat Buccaneers 24-9, and so there was no comeback for Baker Mayfield this week. So Detroit actually, exercises their demons, come back, win this game, and unfortunately for Mike Evans, broken clavicle, and he is out for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, he's done.
Yeah, so that's what was going on with him. So that I mean, regardless, I'm glad. It's clavicle. He can come back from this injury. It'll be next year. I know it's a bummer for him in this season. Wanted to do something this season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They still have Mecca Buka. The offense was still rolling, without him. So I think they're still going to continue to roll. It was one of these games, Detroit, like I said, I said this before also, I didn't see Detroit losing 2 games in a row. So I knew they were going to bounce back. I know Dan Campbell was going to have them ready to bounce back and play and win. 24-9. I think Jahmyr Gibbs has a monster game. 17 carries, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns. Baker Mayfield is still solid. Jared Goff was solid. Again, lead around the same amount of attempts, 29 attempts, 20 for 29, 241. And the running game was clicking and Jahmyr Gibbs doing his thing. So that's the formula for Detroit, like you said. And that's how, they get back on track and win this game. The NFC is even. The NFC is even. There's really not a top team right now in the NFC. You got a lot of teams 5-2, that 4-1 in that range, and that's where a lot of the teams are right now. Like I said, I think a couple of teams are going to separate themselves as the season goes on. But for right now, NFC is even. I think all of these teams are just jockeying for position, trying to get their footing, seeing what works, what doesn't work, and then we'll see as the season goes on. But Detroit wins that one tonight, and they right the ship. But again, just 2 good teams. These are playoff teams. So going up against each other is just, unfortunate for Mike Evans tonight.
Yeah. Evans was trying to break the record for most consecutive 1,000-yard receiving seasons. He had tied Jerry Rice.
Yeah.
And so this was going to be the year he could potentially break it. And unfortunately, yeah.
That's tough.
No, but to your point, Detroit seemed to, I won't say easily, but they handled Tampa Bay. And so as good as Tampa's been looking, they now look vulnerable too. And so everyone seems to have a weakness. And, in weeks, we'll be able to tell the true contenders from the pretenders. But right now, a bunch of teams look good on good days and look a little suspect on the bad days, and we'll figure it out. But from a if you enjoy football, it is good to have this situation where you got a good 8 teams and you're trying to figure out
Parity.
who would beat whom.
Yeah. No, I mean, every team has a bad showing, and I think this is just that that game for the Bucks. I think they're going to bounce back, kind of figure this out. They're dealing with a whole bunch of injuries, but that's no excuse. 49ers are showing that right now. But Baker Mayfield, I think he's gonna figure it out. They're gonna turn it around. I expect the Bucks to be a major player in the NFC, make a potential run in the playoffs. But Detroit, again, that recipe: run, pass, run, pass. If you're an accurate passer, clean pocket, get the ball, distribute it, get it out quick, and then a solid defense. It works. Definitely works. They're probably top of the NFC North now. Man, yeah. I don't see the Bears or the Packers, and then even the Vikings, even with the quarterback situation. So they may run away with that with that division.
Yeah. And Doc, I know you don't want to hear that, but you know,
It's the truth, right? Like, and mind you, I was totally on board with Sam Darnold leaving if he wanted more than the thing like 30 million. I think he got like 33, right?
Mhm.
With Seattle. But now it's like, man,
Man,
oh, to have Sam Darnold right now, right? Now, I mean, the issue with Sam Darnold is late December and January. That's a
yeah,
whole other situation, right? And because of that, but in October, you're like, man, it'd be so good to have Sam Darnold right now, right? So, but yeah, I agree. I think it's Detroit, and then it's like, hey, is it Chicago or Green Bay? You might even put Chicago over Green Bay. Right now, with the quarterback situation, the Vikings are tenuous. Hopefully we get it righted the ship one way or the other. But yeah, so
yeah. Well, speaking of Vikings, in a preview of this Thursday's game coming up, you guys taking on the Chargers, man. And so, it's not gonna get any easier for you guys. But I do think in this game, I think y'all gonna win this game. I think on Thursday, y'all gonna win this game. I think it also again depends on Carson Wentz because I don't think JJ is going to be starting right now, anytime soon in the next couple of weeks. But I think it depends on Carson Wentz. If O'Connell can have him settle in, get him those first scripted plays, it looks like Jordan Addison is his favorite receiver because he's finding Jordan Addison, and they said he's good on the outside the hash marks. He could get the ball out there really well, and that's some of the routes that Jordan Addison runs. And so I would. It looked to me. I don't know. I want to ask you that, but it looked to me like Justin Jefferson was a little bit frustrated in that game this Sunday that he wasn't really getting the ball as much as Jordan Addison was. So to me, it looked like when they panned to him on the sideline, he was kind of a little bit frustrated. I mean, I know he won't say it outright right now because he know the quarterback situation, but looked like he was a little bit kind of frustrated. So if it was me, if I was Carson Wentz, I would send the ball, get him instead of, I mean, hey, Jordan Addison is great. Don't get me wrong, great receiver, but get Justin Jefferson the ball.
yeah. There's no way Jordan Addison should have more targets than Jefferson. That shouldn't be happening.
I am hoping that Justin Herbert throws 55 attempts again, because most likely that means you're going to win the game if you got to throw that many times. And somehow, we didn't talk about it. I hope they wear those horrible mustard-colored jerseys.
Those things are ugly. Oh, my God. Look like a whole bunch of bananas on the field.
The Chargers are known for having the best-looking jersey with the powder blues, right? And like I said, it's like Charlize Theron in like Monster, where they made Charlize Theron look like it. The Chargers decided to just jock up the powder blues and go all mustard colored with those things are horrible to look at. So I want to see it, but I don't want to see it because it's horrible to look at. But yeah, I'm hoping we can turn things around and get things going in the right direction. But yeah, I am a little worried of Jim Harbaugh trying to run the ball on us and not being so dependent on Justin Herbert.
Well, they don't have any running backs.
Hasn't stopped him before.
Well, it stopped them last game.
Stopped the last game, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping the same thing again. They got to
Yeah.
go. They got to go through the air only. So
Yep. Looks like Seattle's up 14-zip. Sam Darnold, 6 of 10, 100 yards, a touchdown.
Keeping it rolling.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Well, we'll follow up on Friday, man. See how everything went with this last game here, and I look forward to the next week.
All right, fellas.
Sounds
All right,
good.
man.
All right.
Yeah.
True.